The sky was clear on the night when everything changed. At the SETI listening station in New Mexico, Kim Ta was about to end his shift when his computer screen lit up with unusual patterns. He called his boss right away. Within hours, scientists around the world confirmed what they had received, a message from space. Dr. Mei-hyun was eating dinner at her small apartment when her phone rang. As one of the world's top experts in language patterns, she often helped governments decode difficult messages. But this call was different. The voice on the other end belonged to the president's assistant. Dr. May, we need you in Washington. Now. 24 hours later, Dr. Mai sat in a room with 30 other experts. They watched as the head scientist played the message again. It showed strange symbols that changed and moved. After several repeats, Dr. May noticed something. It's not just random. These patterns follow rules. For 3 days straight, Dr. May and her team worked without much sleep. They fed the message into powerful computers. On the 4th day, they had a breakthrough. The message contained perfect mathematical proofs, some that humans had discovered, and others that went far beyond current human knowledge. This proves it comes from an advanced civilization, Dr. Mai told the president and world leaders on a video call. And there's more. The aliens had included a countdown. They would arrive at Earth in exactly 10 years. Their purpose? To test humanity. If Earth passed, they would welcome humans into a galactic community. If Earth failed, the consequences were clear: extinction. Meanwhile, Colonel Jahan was leading a training exercise when military helicopters landed at his base. His superiors ordered him to report to the United Nations headquarters immediately. Jay had built his career on being calm during chaos. At 45 years old, he had led peacekeeping missions in the world's most dangerous places. But nothing had prepared him for what he learned in New York. We need someone to lead our global defense efforts, the Secretary General told him. Someone who can unite our military forces while we prepare for this test. Within weeks, the world's nations did something unprecedented. They created the Global Defense Initiative, the GDI. Colonel Jay became its first commander. Dr. Mi's team moved to a new research center in Seoul. Their job was to continue studying the alien message, which contained blueprints for technologies humans had never imagined. One morning, Dr. Mai received a visitor. Colonel Jay wore his uniform as he entered her lab. Dr. May, I've read your reports. I need to understand what we're facing, he said, his voice steady but his eyes revealing concern. Dr. May nodded and led him to her main screen. The aliens have given us information about faster-than-light travel, new energy sources, and materials we can't even create yet. It's like giving a Stone Age human a smartphone and expecting them to understand it. Can we learn it all in 10 years? Jai asked. Dr. Mee pushed her glasses up. Honestly, I don't know, but they wouldn't give us this information if they didn't think we could. The next few months brought massive changes. The United Nations created a new global education system focused on science and technology. Every university redirected research toward understanding the alien technology. Governments put aside old conflicts as they faced this common challenge. Dr. Mai worked 16-hour days. Her team grew to include hundreds of the brightest minds from around the world. Together, they began the slow process of decoding the alien science. Colonel Jay faced different challenges. How do you prepare to defend against something you don't understand? He established training centers on every continent, where soldiers from former enemy nations learned to work together. 6 months after the message arrived, Dr. May made another discovery. Hidden in the alien transmission was information about the test itself. They won't just judge our technology, she explained to Jay during one of their weekly meetings. They'll evaluate our culture, our values, how we treat each other, and our planet. Jay frowned. So we need to improve everything about humanity in 10 years. Pretty much, Dr. Mai said with a tired smile. The pressure was enormous. Some people couldn't handle it. Suicide rates climbed. Religious movements predicted the end times. But most of humanity pulled together with a shared purpose they had never known before. 1 year after the message, the GDI unveiled its first achievement, a global defense system that could detect objects approaching Earth from much farther away than before. It wasn't alien technology, but it was a step forward. Dr. May's team had their own breakthrough. They created a new material based on the alien blueprints, lighter than aluminum, but stronger than steel. Manufacturing began immediately. On the first anniversary of the message, Dr. May and Colonel J stood on the roof of the GDI headquarters, watching the sunset. 1 year down, 9 to go, J said. Dr. May nodded. Sometimes I wonder if we can do this. We have to, J replied simply. Dr. May looked at him. In just a year, new lines had appeared on his face. She knew she probably looked just as tired. The strangest part, she said, is that we needed this threat to bring us together. Wars have stopped. Countries are sharing resources. People are working together. Jay nodded. Maybe that's part of the test too. As darkness fell, they could see new construction spreading across the city. Similar projects were happening worldwide. New research centers, training facilities, and factories built to create the tools humanity would need. We have 9 more years, Dr. Mai said. 9 years to become something greater than we've ever been. Colonel Jia looked up at the stars, somewhere among which their judges were watching and waiting. Then we better get back to work, he said. And so the first year of humanity's decade of preparation ended, with fear and hope in equal measure, and with the clock constantly ticking toward the day of reckoning. The morning sun reflected off the gleaming white towers of the International Science Complex. 5 years had passed since the alien message arrived. The world looked very different now. Dr. Bai Hyun stood at the window of her office, watching workers install a new quantum communication array. At 41, her hair now had streaks of gray, the result of 5 years of intense work. She turned as her assistant entered. The American and Chinese teams are ready for you in the main lab, her assistant said. Dr. May nodded and gathered her tablet. These joint meetings still amazed her. Before the message, these nations had been on the edge of a trade war. Now their best scientists worked side by side. The main laboratory buzzed with activity. On one wall, a large clock counted down. 1,826 days left until the arrival. 5 years gone. 5 more to go. Good morning, Dr. Mai said as she entered. Scientists from 12 countries looked up from their work. Show me what you've accomplished. A young Chinese physicist named Jun stepped forward. We've finally done it. He pointed to a small device on the table. Using the alien principles, we've created the first working gravity modifier. Dr. May picked up the device. It looked simple, a metal disc with strange patterns etched into its surface. 5 years ago, controlling gravity was science fiction. Now, it was real. The North Koreans and South Koreans developed the power source, Jun added. The Americans and Russians designed a control mechanism. Dr. May smiled. Old enemies working together had become normal now. The alien threat had changed everything. Across the city, Colonel Jahan walked through the Global Defense Initiative headquarters. At 50, Jay remained fit and sharp, though the responsibility of preparing Earth's defenses had added lines to his face. In the command center, officers from former enemy nations sat together, monitoring Earth's new defense systems. Screens showed satellites, early warning systems, and the growing fleet of ships built with the new technologies. Sir, the orbital platform reports successful test of the shield technology, his deputy said. Jay nodded. And the energy readings? Well below the threshold we believe would appear threatening to watching aliens. This was Jay's constant worry. They needed to prepare defenses, but if they appeared too aggressive, they might fail the test before it even began. Every weapon system was designed to be clearly defensive. Later that day, Dr. Mai and Colonel J met for their weekly lunch. They had become friends over the years, united by their impossible mission. The new gravity technology works, Dr. Mai said between bites of her sandwich. We can use it for construction, medicine, space travel, everything. Jay nodded. That's 3 major technologies we've developed from their blueprints: gravity control, advanced materials, and the new energy source. But we're still far behind where they are. Dr. May sighed. We're like children trying to build a spaceship after seeing a picture of one. Children learn quickly, Jay replied. And humans work best under pressure. This was true. Around the world, competition still drove progress, but in a new way. Nations now competed to contribute the most to humanity's preparation. When Japan developed better computer systems, South Korea quickly improved them. When Brazil created more efficient farming methods, Argentina found ways to make them even better. Competition had become cooperation. After lunch, Dr. Mai returned to her private research room. For months, she had been studying a part of the alien message that others had overlooked. The aliens had included examples of their art, music, and stories alongside their technology. Dr. Mai studied these cultural samples closely. Today, something clicked. That's it, she whispered. She rushed to her computer and began typing quickly. 3 hours later, she stood before the Global Council, leaders from every nation who guided Earth's preparation efforts. The aliens aren't just testing our technology, Dr. Mai explained. I've analyzed the cultural information in their message. They value creativity and adaptation more than technological advancement. The room fell silent. Look at the stories they sent us, she continued. They all featured the same theme: species facing challenges and finding unique solutions. They don't value perfection. They value innovation. A council member frowned. But we've spent 5 years trying to copy their technology. And that was necessary, Dr. Mai said. But going forward, we should focus on adapting their ideas in new ways, not just copying them. We need to show we can think differently. The council debated this new information for hours. Finally, they agreed to change their approach. Earth would still learn from the alien technology, but they would focus more on creating unique human solutions. This new direction spread quickly. Within weeks, research teams began experimenting with human innovations based on alien concepts. The results were surprising. By combining alien principles with human creativity, they made breakthroughs the aliens themselves might not have imagined. Colonel Jay faced his own challenges. The new defense systems needed testing, but any large-scale military exercise might be misinterpreted by watching aliens. We'll conduct small tests in different locations, he told his global command team. Nothing that looks like preparation for attack, everything clearly defensive. One evening, 6 months after Dr. Mi's discovery, she and Ja walked through Seoul's new Central Park. The city had been transformed. Clean energy powered everything. New buildings used materials that could repair themselves. Transportation moved smoothly above and below ground. Sometimes I wonder if we would ever have achieved all this without the threat, Jay said. Dr. May nodded. Humans have always needed a push, but look what we can do when we work together. They stopped near a playground where children played. These children had never known the old world of nations fighting each other. To them, a united Earth was normal. 5 more years, Jay said, looking up at the stars. Do you think we'll be ready? Dr. May considered this, not to match their technology, no, but to show them who we are, what humans can do when challenged. Yes, I think we might surprise them. As night fell over the transformed Earth, millions of people continued working toward humanity's greatest test. Old hatreds had given way to a common purpose. Former enemies now shared knowledge and resources. The competitive spirit that once drove humans apart now pushed them to greater achievements together. 5 years down, 5 to go. The clock kept ticking, but humanity was changing faster than anyone could have imagined. The explosion rocked the Global Defense Initiative headquarters in New York. Alarms blared as smoke filled the corridors. Colonel Jahan ran through the chaos, directing emergency teams. This was the 3rd attack in 2 weeks. Report, he commanded when he reached the command center. Minor damage to the east wing, sir. 2 injured, no deaths, his deputy answered. They left their mark again. On the wall outside, security cameras showed a spray-painted symbol, a blue earth with the words, Earth for humans alone beneath it. The signature of the group calling themselves the Terran Purists. 7 years had passed since the alien message. With 3 years left until the arrival, humanity had made incredible progress. New cities reached toward the sky. Disease was largely conquered. Clean energy powered the world. Space stations orbited Earth, ready to greet or defend against the coming visitors. But not everyone welcomed these changes. That evening, billions watched their screens as a man with intense eyes and a calm voice addressed the world. I am Sung Jin, he said. 7 years ago, aliens threatened us with extinction if we failed their test. And what did we do? We obeyed like scared children. We threw away our cultures, our traditions, our human identity. We've become something different. Not human, not alien, but something weak in between. Colonel J watched the broadcast from his office, his face grim. We've had enough. Sung Jin continued. The Terran Purists demand that humanity face this test as we are, as humans have always been. Strong, independent, true to ourselves. The broadcast cut off as authorities traced and shut down the signal, but the damage was done. Across the world, protests erupted. Some people carried signs supporting the Purists. Others fought against them. The unity of the past 7 years showed its first serious cracks. At the International Science Complex, Dr. Mayhyun called an emergency meeting with her top researchers. The attacks are slowing our progress, she said. Security has been increased, but we need to work faster. Any updates on the new projects? A young scientist named Yoon Soo raised her hand. At 32, she was the newest member of Dr. May's core team, a brilliant astronomer who specialized in detecting distant objects. I have something to report, but not about our projects, Yoon said. It's about our visitors. The room grew quiet. For the past 6 months, I've detected small anomalies in orbit around Earth, objects that appear and disappear, energy readings that don't match any of our satellites. She displayed images on the main screen, subtle distortions in space, barely visible. I believe they're already here, watching us, studying our progress. Dr. May felt a chill. How certain are you? 90%, Yoon replied. I'd eliminated all other explanations. That night, Dr. May couldn't sleep. If the aliens were already watching, what did that mean for their preparations? She reviewed the entire message again, searching for clues they might have missed. In the morning, she called Colonel Jai. We need to meet, in person. No digital communication. They met in an old park, away from any technology that might be monitored. The autumn leaves fell around them as they walked. I think the preparation period is itself part of the test, Dr. Mai said after explaining Yoon's discovery. They're not just testing what we achieve by the deadline. They're testing how we achieve it. Jay considered this, so the Purists' violence could be hurting our chances. Exactly. But there's more. Dr. Mai stopped walking. What if they want to see how we handle internal conflict? What if they're testing our ability to remain united despite challenges? Then we need to respond carefully to the Purists, Jay said. Not with more violence, but with understanding. Over the next month, the Global Council debated what to do. Some wanted to crack down hard on the Purists. Others suggested incorporating some of their concerns into the preparation plans. Meanwhile, Sung Jin's movement grew. Most people still supported the global effort, but the Purists gained followers daily. They attacked research facilities, sabotaged new technology, and spread fear about the changes humanity was undergoing. Dr. Mai and Colonel Jai presented their theory to the Global Council. If they're watching us now, every action we take matters, Dr. Mai explained. How we handle the Purists could determine whether we pass or fail. The council president nodded slowly. But we can't allow them to destroy what we've built. No, Jay agreed. But we can try to understand why they're afraid and address those fears. The council approved a new approach. Instead of fighting the purists, they would invite dialogue. Television channels opened for debates. Purist representatives were given seats on advisory boards. Their concerns about preserving human culture were incorporated into preparation plans. Some purists rejected these efforts, but many were surprised to find themselves being heard. Slowly, the violence decreased. Then came the Osaka incident. Sung Jin and his most loyal followers seized control of a major research facility in Osaka, Japan. They took 50 scientists hostage and threatened to destroy research dating back 7 years. "This is our final statement," Sung Jin announced to the world. "Stop changing humanity to please alien masters. Return to being truly human, or we destroy everything." The world held its breath as Colonel J personally led the response team. For 3 tense days, he negotiated with Sung Jin. "I understand your fear," J told him during their talks. "You think we're losing what makes us human. But adapting, changing to face new challenges, that is what makes us human." On the 4th day, J took an enormous risk. He entered the facility alone, unarmed. Inside, he found Sung Jin surrounded by his followers, looking tired but determined. "You've made your point," J said simply. "The world has heard you. Now let's find a solution that doesn't end with more humans hurting humans. If they're watching us now, let's show them how we resolve our differences." No one knows exactly what happened in the room over the next 5 hours. But when they emerged, Sung Jin agreed to release the hostages. In exchange, the Global Council would establish a new division focused on preserving human culture and identity during the remaining preparations. As Ja and the freed hostages left the building, Dr. Mai watched on a screen from her lab. Beside her, Yoon Su's instruments detected unusual energy readings in orbit, stronger than before, as if more observers had arrived. "They're definitely watching," Yoon whispered. Dr. Mai nodded. "And we just showed them something important about humanity." With 3 years remaining, Earth faced its greatest internal challenge, and passed. The preparation continued, now with both technological advancement and cultural preservation as equal goals. The clock kept ticking toward humanity's ultimate test. 30 days remained until the aliens arrived. The countdown clock was displayed in every city around the world. People went about their lives with one eye always on those numbers. Dr. Mai Hyun stood on the observation deck of Humanity Unity Station, the massive space platform built to serve as first contact point. Below her, Earth looked peaceful from space. Blue oceans, green and brown land, swirling white clouds. 10 years of work had transformed the planet. Cities now ran on clean energy. The air was cleaner than it had been in centuries. Old enemies worked side by side. But would it be enough? "Beautiful view," said a voice behind her. Colonel Jahan joined her at the window. In 10 years, his hair had turned completely gray, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. "Hard to believe we've come this far," Dr. Mai said. 10 years ago, nations were ready to go to war over oil and borders. "Fear is a powerful motivator," Jay replied. "But I think we've moved beyond fear. People are proud of what we've built." On Earth, in a small apartment in Seoul, Park Min sat with his family eating dinner. His children, ages 12 and 8, talked excitedly about the aliens. "Do you think they'll look like us?" asked his daughter. "I doubt it," Min answered. "The universe is too creative for that." His wife squeezed his hand under the table. They didn't speak about their fears in front of the children. The fear that despite everything humanity had accomplished, it might not be enough. Similar scenes played out in homes across the planet. Some people prayed. Others partied like there was no tomorrow, because maybe there wouldn't be. Most tried to maintain normal routines while preparing for the most abnormal event in human history. Back on the space station, Dr. Mai met with Ambassador Yunji, the woman chosen to be humanity's first representative to the aliens. At 45, Yunji had been a diplomat before the message arrived. Now she carried the weight of the entire species on her shoulders. Have you prepared your greeting? Dr. May asked. Yunji nodded. 100 times, but will words matter? They'll judge us by our actions, not our speeches. You've studied everything we know about them, Dr. Mai said. If anyone can communicate our intentions, it's you. As the final days approached, Colonel J ordered one last review of Earth's defenses, not to threaten the visitors, but as a last resort. The Global Defense Fleet, ships built with reverse-engineered alien technology, stood ready. They were clearly designed for protection, not aggression. All systems green, his deputy reported. Though I doubt we could stop them if they decided to attack. Our best defense isn't our weapons, Jay replied. It's showing them we deserve to survive. 3 days before the expected arrival, something unexpected happened. Sung Jin, the former leader of the Terran purists who had caused so much trouble 3 years earlier, requested to join the welcoming committee on the space station. Why should we trust you? Colonel J asked during the video call. Because I represent a perspective they should hear, Sung Jin replied. You've built amazing technology. You've united the world. But I can speak to preserving what makes us human while embracing change. After consultation with the Global Council, they agreed. Humanity would present its full spectrum of voices, unity with diversity. The final day arrived. Billions watched their screens. Schools closed. Most work stopped. Humanity collectively held its breath. On the space station, Ambassador Yunji stood in the grand reception hall with Dr. May, Colonel Jia, Sung Jin, and 20 other representatives from around the world. They wore formal clothes representing their cultures, a visual display of Earth's diversity. Anything on sensors? Jay asked the control room through his earpiece. Nothing yet, sir. Wait. Energy readings at the edge of the solar system. They're coming in fast. Hours passed. The energy readings moved closer. Then suddenly, they appeared just beyond the station. The alien ships. Everyone had expected a massive fleet of intimidating vessels. Instead, 3 small ships appeared, each no larger than a passenger airplane. They were smooth, with no visible weapons or engines, glowing with a soft blue light. They're beautiful, Dr. Mai whispered. Ambassador Yunji stepped forward as planned. The central viewing screen activated, showing the interior of the lead alien ship. The aliens looked nothing like humans had imagined. They resembled something between plants and sea creatures, flowing, semi-transparent bodies with multiple limbs that changed shape as they moved. Their faces were patterns of light that shifted constantly. On behalf of humanity and Earth, I welcome you, Yunji said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The alien's response came not as sound, but as thoughts that somehow formed words in each human's mind. Greetings, humans of Earth. We have observed your decade of preparation with interest. Now begins your evaluation. The main alien, whose light patterns glowed brighter than the others, continued. Your test begins now. Each of you will face 3 challenges. They will not be what you expect. Colonel Jai stepped forward. We are ready to demonstrate our technological progress and... The alien interrupted. Technology is merely a tool. We test the wielders, not their tools. Without warning, the station lights dimmed. The aliens vanished from the screen. In their place appeared what looked like a simple puzzle, shapes and symbols that needed to be arranged in some pattern. Complete this within 1 hour, the alien voice said in their minds. All of you must contribute. The humans looked at each other in confusion. This was nothing like the complex scientific or philosophical challenges they had prepared for. What does this mean? Sung Jin asked, staring at the puzzle. Dr. Mai studied the symbols carefully. I think they're testing how we work together. Look, each symbol relates to a different human culture. No single person here would recognize all of them. Ambassador Yunji took charge. Everyone, describe any symbol you recognize. Let's pool our knowledge. As they worked, they realized the puzzle wasn't just about arranging symbols. It changed as they worked. adapting to their solutions, requiring them to constantly communicate and adjust their approach. 45 minutes later, they completed the arrangement. The screen glowed green briefly, then displayed a new challenge. This one appearing to be a moral dilemma presented as a complex story with multiple possible endings. The real test isn't what we built over 10 years, Dr. Mai said as they began working on the new challenge. It's how we face the unexpected together. Outside the station, the 3 alien ships maintained their position, watching as humanity faced the first of many unexpected tests that would determine their future. 3 days had passed since the alien arrival. 3 days of strange tests that pushed humanity in unexpected ways. The team on the space station had solved puzzles, faced moral dilemmas, and navigated complex social scenarios. None of the challenges tested their technology directly. The final test began on the morning of the 4th day. The aliens transported Dr. Mei, Colonel Jai, Ambassador Yunji, and Sung Jin to the surface of their largest ship. The room they found themselves in looked like a garden filled with strange plants and flowing water, but everything was slightly wrong. Colors that shouldn't exist, plants that moved with purpose. "This is our final challenge for you," the lead alien communicated directly to their minds. The aliens had introduced themselves as the Myriad, a coalition of species from across the galaxy. "Before you are 4 paths," the alien continued. "Each leads to a different outcome for your species. You must choose one." 4 doorways appeared around the room. Above each door floated an image. The first showed Earth protected by powerful weapons. The second showed humans spreading throughout the stars in massive ships. The third displayed humans and aliens working together. The 4th door showed only darkness. "Choose wisely," the alien said. "You have 1 hour to decide." The 4 humans gathered in the center of the room. "They want us to choose our future," Yunji said. "But which is the right answer?" Colonel J studied the first door. "Defense seems safest. We protect Earth first." "Expansion gives us the greatest opportunity," Dr. Mai said, looking at the second door. "We've prepared for 10 years to join the stars." Sung Jin stared at the third door. "Cooperation might be what they want to see, but is it best for humanity to become dependent on others?" No one looked at the 4th door with its ominous darkness. For the next hour, they debated. Each person argued for different approaches. Their disagreement grew heated at times. "This is pointless," Sung Jin finally said. "We're going in circles." Dr. Mai suddenly stopped pacing. "Wait, what if that's the point? What if there is no single right answer?" "You mean the test is how we make the decision, not which door we choose?" Yunji asked. "Exactly," Dr. Mai said. "Look at all our tests so far. They've been about how we approach problems, not the specific solutions." Colonel J nodded slowly. "So we need to find a way to decide together." With 20 minutes remaining, they developed a new approach. Instead of choosing one door, they would take elements from each positive option. Protection without aggression, exploration without conquest, cooperation without losing independence. As the final minutes ticked away, they'd reached an agreement. Together, they walked toward the third door, cooperation, but stopped just before it. Ambassador Yunji turned to face the watching aliens. "We choose to forge our own path. We will protect our home, we will explore the stars, and we will work with others. But we will remain uniquely human. We refuse to pick just one future when we can create something better by combining them." Silence followed her words. The room's light changed, growing brighter. The alien leader floated forward, its body shifting through colors. "You have passed." The aliens' thoughts formed in their minds. "You are the first species in 700 cycles to refuse the false choice." The doors disappeared. In their place appeared a vast image of the galaxy, with thousands of points of light representing different civilizations. 10 years ago, we sent you a message. Not just to test you, but to find allies. The alien's form rippled. Our galaxy faces a threat beyond any single species' ability to counter. a force that consumes worlds and extinguishes diversity. Images flashed before them, planets being destroyed, civilizations falling. We sought not servants or subjects, but partners, species that can think differently, adapt quickly, and maintain their unique perspective while working with others. Dr. Mai stepped forward. The preparation period itself was the real test. Yes, the alien confirmed. Your transformation was remarkable. Former enemies united. Resources redirected from destruction to creation. New ways of thinking emerge. Yet you kept your cultural diversity, your art, your disagreements that lead to innovation. Colonel Jia looked surprised. Even the purist movement helped us pass. Especially that, the alien replied. You faced internal conflict not with elimination but with integration. Different voices made you stronger. Sung Jin smiled slightly. So my resistance served a purpose after all. All perspectives have value, the alien said. The coming challenge will require every different way of thinking. Ambassador Yunji asked the question they all wondered. What happens now? Now you join us. Not as students, but as teachers. Not as followers, but as leaders. Each species brings unique strengths. Yours is adaptability and creative problem-solving. When they returned to Earth, they'd brought the news. Humanity had passed the test. But the real work was just beginning. 1 month later, Dr. Mai stood with Colonel Jai on the newly constructed Galactic Embassy in what was once Beijing. Below them, humans celebrated with visitors from 12 alien civilizations. The scenes repeated around the world as Earth welcomed its first official extraterrestrial diplomatic missions. Did you ever imagine this outcome when you first decoded their message? Jai asked. Dr. May shook her head. I expected either destruction or some kind of probationary status. I never thought they would value us for being, well, human. Our stubbornness, our arguments, our different approaches, the very things we thought might doom us ended up saving us, Jay said. Ambassador Yunji joined them, accompanied by an alien representative, a crystalline being that floated slightly above the ground. The first joint human myriad research teams are ready, Yunji announced. We're combining our gravity technology with their energy systems to create something entirely new. And the defense preparations? Jai asked. Beginning next month, the alien communicated. Your military creativity will help design strategies against the coming threat. Sun Jin, now serving as Cultural Preservation Director, approached with a group of children who gazed in wonder at the alien visitor. Today's lesson is about maintaining our humanity while embracing new friends, he told them. As the sun set on this new era, Dr. Mai remembered the fear they had felt when the first message arrived. 10 years of preparation had changed humanity forever, but in ways no one could have predicted. They had grown not by abandoning their nature, but by embracing it fully. Earth was taking its first steps into a vast, complex galactic community. The challenges ahead would be greater than anything they had faced before. But now they faced them not alone, but as part of something larger, while remaining uniquely, proudly human. Ready for what comes next? Jai asked. Dr. Mai smiled as she watched Earth's children talking excitedly with alien visitors. We've always been ready. We just didn't know it. The end.